Hello and welcome to the Spillover campaign. Apparently, you have an interest in my homebrew, and I have an interest in you suffering through the many pages of written material I've made. So I'm gonna read it to you, but I'm a little sick, so we're gonna get through this together. Kuroma is the name of the main city. Crete is the planet. Here's the world lore, and let's get rolling. In the primordial age there was Gaia, mother of nature, and Kalus, father of the heavens. They seeded the early world of Crete with their first children, the giants, creatures so large they could move mountains and forests as they pleased. Kalus was amused with his children's shaping of the world, rock cliffs chiseled in his honor, but as time progressed and the giants learned of their mother's love for serenity, they moved away from reshaping nature to their whim and instead set to tending groves and cultivating new species to share the planet with. Calus grew bored watching these simple labors and commanded Gaia to help him slay the giants so that they might start anew. With a broken heart, Gaia laid her gentle children to rest, her hatred for Calus taking root. With the giants gone, the age of humanoids began. Calus bestowed the world with the children made of his blood, the elves, dwarves, and humans, who were given the ruins of the giants to battle over and conquer, eventually forcing Gaia to birth the Titans, beings akin to lesser gods, given domain over the humanoids. Kalus continued to meddle in worldly affairs, whispering to the different tribes of his children about battle and instilling his bloodlust into their short lives. Cronus, Titan god of time, used a gifted sickle from Gaia to end the cycle of his father's cruelty. A battle of the grandest scale ensued. Humanity humanity at a fever pitch of blood feuds, while the Titans attacked Kalus and the skies above. Kronos dealt his father an unhealable wound, severing his seed into the ocean below, where legend has it it still gives life to all forms of sea beasts. AKA, Kalus lost his nuts to the ocean. Emasculated and weakened, Kalus retreated from the mortal material plane for centuries. Never before had such a time of peace taken over the world. Prosperity flourished among all races until Cronus received the prophecy that his children would destroy the world he fought so hard for. Sinking into despair, Cronus consumed his own children, the Olympians, so the cycle of destruction might be halted. But mankind was wary of the gods and their possible looming betrayal, demanding from their patrons so many blessings to eventually drive Cronus mad. With a belly full of his children's souls and a planet full of disrespectful followers, he reshaped the world into a cruel tournament to teach all who remained that they should fall to their knees. While the meddling of Calus had mankind warring with one another, the punishments of Cronus made Crete nearly uninhabitable. Cronus slew any Titan who stood in his way. Eventually his own mother Gaia turned against him, and with the aid of Calus, destroyed the god of time and sent him and his remaining followers to the realm where they could no longer interfere with mortals. Vowing to leave the planet's rule under mortals, Gaia bestowed the world with her own children, the halflings and the orcs, being connected to the planet's cycles of nature. Calus plunged his own blood into the reigning city of the humanoids, giving them the magic of eco so they might survive the cruel world Cronus had made. With this done, Gaia and Calus removed their mortal bodies from Crete swearing off any direct interference to come. And then we have the prophecy here. Desecrated and disemboweled high priestess of Cronus, Saiph. Dear Cronus, I bestow a final truth upon you. As your father brought blight to the mortals, by the path of your children will millions fall to vengeance unseen before in its magnitude. By your blood will society crumble once more. I'm just going to quickly sniffle. So, the two main gods, Kalos and Gaia, have kind of left, deciding that humans should decide for themselves, or humanoids, what kind of things go on. And then we have the timeline. Ooh. Don't know how I'm going to read this, but the most important thing kind of to remember in this world is BE stands for before eco and AE stands for after eco. The whole magic goo that Kalos left behind. So eco is truly tapped at around 1000, which is kind of where the year shift begins. So at 0 BE, we have the creation of humanoids. 100 BE, creation of titans. 300 BE, Danili fire is born, goes on to become first elemental council. 318 BE, Cronus stops a devastating hurricane made by Kalos. 320 BE, Kalos is castrated during the war with the titans. Humanoids wage their own day of war. 330 BE, Danili and Karima unite tribes to build the city of Titan. 400 BE, Elemental Council is formed as main government. 770 BE, Cronus announces the first child, but Saif's prophecy strikes fear. 820 BE, Cronus goes mad and reshapes the world. 900 BE, Cronus aims hurricane at Ganassi, killing millions. It is the island of Titan. The names change occasionally, but won't be important. Oh dear. Hopefully that's an okay message. Go away, signal. 1000 BE. Gaia and Kalos kill the Titans. Kalos curses them to hellish land. Gaia creates the orcs and halflings. Kalos gifts the mortals eco-fountains. 1001 AE. Era of after eco begins. 1030 AE. Danza Water researches healing eco uses, charging the Water family with the fountain's maintenance. Church of Kalos joins with the Spirit family and deems healing eco to be a holy sacrament. 1670 EE. Broiling hurricane harms infrastructure of Titan City. 1677 AE. Broiling hurricane destroys Titan City, killing 25% of world population. 1690 AE. Kalos troops attempt to retake Titan, but are wiped out by monsters and beasts. 1700 AE. Mikres Limnes, Chroma, becomes the new capital city. Lifespans increase with use of eco. 1740 AE. Anke College is founded around Intellect Eco Fountain. 1780 AE. Councilman Bryn Earth is assassinated. 1800 AE. Councilman Roser Earth is assassinated. 2000 AE. Koremus Spirit opens up an orphanage for ill-tempered and powerful children. With new troops, Kalos sets up outpost and colony for Ickers, an eastern quarter of Titan. 2300 AE. Councilman Day Earth is assassinated. Druid religion loses favor in capital city. 2400 AE. Koremus spirit dies and wife Tiago makes orphanage into cleric training ground. 2500 AE, Petunia spirit becomes high priestess and shuts down orphanage. 2900 AE, Druid terrorists halt Fatia Fortune Eco production. Kalos troops settle resistance. First, where is that next scene? 2990, I presume you know it's AE, Icar birth ban is lifted, and first artificial eco fountain is created by Verse. Oh, I forgot one. 2980, Petunia's daughter and grandchild are murdered. 3009 AE, Thomas Fire is murdered. The current year is 3010. Haha. I had to write out 3,000 years of history, so you have to listen to it. So, there is the healing eco on Chroma, the new capital city after Titan kind of fell to all those storms. Some races can use the eco, some cannot. So that's what the natural lifespan and eco-assisted lifespan hints at. So elves normally live between 350 to 450 years, dwarves 250 to 350, humans 65 to 90, halflings 85 to 100, and orcs 80 to 100. Now, if those races, elves, dwarves, and humans, decide to use eco, elves can then live between 600 to 1,000 years, dwarves 400 to 800 years, and humans 200 to 600 years, if they live around Chroma. It's kind of being near the fountain helps keep such long lives. Ancient to modern island names. Knowing this ancient island names is not required, so I'm not going to even bother pronouncing them because I don't speak Greek. All right. Island populations and birthplaces. Human and elves were first kind of seeded and, gods did just pop them into existence on Titan, which is mountainous and swampy. Dwarves were created on Fatia, a volcanic and mountainous area. Halflings are Veromia, a rainforest. Orcs were Chroma, hilly beach and grassy plains. Anke is a frozen wasteland, and Eriera is a plateaued rainforest that mostly druids live on. So, enchanted metals. Aluminum, while easy to forge into jewelry resulting in poor quality enchantments. Brass and copper are great for forging, but they reject enchantments over time. Iron with additional results in quality enchantment. Oh, what is it? Oh, I just can't read. Iron with additive results in quality enchantment, binding, and can hold higher level spells. Titanium. Purified ore can only be found in meteorites, a superior metal for enchantments, and can hold multiple enchantments. Armor or swords may have an inlay of titanium to hold spells. Platinum. Useful ore only existed from the pre-Kree period. No forge master can work in the modern era. Thought to require the blessing of a god, legend has it that the Gaia sickle is made out of platinum alongside the enchantment of unmend. Finally, a mending spell is useful, except it's that you can never join these two items together. Which is why when Cronus cut off Kalos' testicles, there's no grafting that back on. No healing spell's gonna reattach that, sadly. Let me make sure my audio's still going. It is. Alright. Eco crystals and enchanted gems. Fortune, aka Fanta crystals, are superheated eco from the Tartarus volcano that was cooled into crystals of varying sizes. An appraiser is needed to detect what spells lay inside the cooled eco. These crystals can then be inlaid into jewelry, weapons, or armor, and if properly enchanted, the wearer can call upon the same spell multiple times. It is not recommended to smash these crystals, as the spell will release at many times the strength of the spell's typical power. Some artisans have begun carefully grinding the crystals into powders that can then be used as components. Diamonds and other precious gems can be enchanted similar to metals. Alright, that's enough for the timeline. The glossary. Because I am a kind god, I did figure that it might be best to have a quick note section where, I don't want this to be some big fantasy book where no one knows what's going on, what happened, or where to look it up. So, glossary. Doodle-doo. Again, Crete is the planet. AE for after eco, or BE for before eco, AE for after eco. Did it show up that way? Yeah. There we go. Trying to see that one of my paragraphs wasn't correctly sized. So, eco. A parting gift by Calus takes the form of varying magical substances supplied by natural phenomena at specific locations, i.e. the hot spring in Chroma, the steam vents of Anke, and the volcano on Fatia, pre-Cree, before the creation of Eco. Gaia, goddess of nature, gave Cronus the sickle by which he castrated Calus. She created the halflings and orcs. Many of her followers live on Era. The use of Eco is forbidden in her religion. So no healing potions or cool spell crystals, although the spell crystal one people are a little less rigid on. Calus, god of the heavens, also called the father of war. He created the elves, dwarves, and humans. When he and Gaia defeated the Titans, he gifted the humanoids with eco fountains. The Church of Calus views eco as a holy sacrament. A giant clam is believed to have eaten Calus's severed testicles, his spilled seed giving life to sea monsters. Oh ho ho. Cronus, Titan god of time. He took over rule when Calus was defeated. He was a kind god until his ex-high priestess gave a prophecy that his children would bring about the destruction of the world. He consumed his children, but then mankind drove him mad, and he made the planet chaotic and harsh, with yearly hurricanes, savage sea beasts, and thistle flu. The Olympians, the consumed children of Cronus, they exist on their own planet. Within the spiritual sea. They have no material bodies with which to interact with Crete, so they make bargains and pacts with those who seek them out. Spiritual sea, akin to another dimension in which each god has their own world/realm or a shared one. Material body, a flesh and bone body that can interact with Crete and its citizens. All beings have a material body and a spiritual body, aka soul. The Well of Souls, shorthand for the process of reincarnation. Upon death, worshippers get to have a short interaction with their god's realm before forgetting and being born anew. Their memories reset while personality remains. So if you sucked in your past life, you probably suck in your new life. Alright. Power Eco. Meant as the ultimate gift to humanoids from Calus. This eco boosts its users' natural, physical, and spell ability. The fountain now lays in ruins within the overgrown city of Titan, destroyed by 2 severe hurricanes. Animals were exposed to its magic and became warped beasts with extreme strength and magic. In the year 1,320 years have passed since the city fell, and adventurers have only been able to secure about 20% of the coast, referred to as the Eastern Quarter. Healing Eco, healing mists, Therma, the healing baths. Found in chroma, this eco flows alongside a hot spring that transforms into a mist that spreads around the city. Daily exposure naturally boosts the quality of life for citizens. Refined healing potions can be used to mend wounds, cosmetic effects, and birth control. The healing baths can heal grave wounds, severe injury, or a severe aging, and even death, used by the rich to greatly extend their lives for a price. Gorange refers to expired therma potions that are sold cheaply and are generally less effective. Gotta love some Gorange. Fortune Eco, aka Fanta. From Fatia, once, say once. I see my little spelling mistakes. I'm so glad I'm reading. Once purified from the volcanic crystals, can be used in spell scrolls, wands, rods, enchanted armor, and even blended into potions. Intellect Eco, aka Logia. Found in the wasteland of Anke, the vapors cannot be transported, so one must be within the college to feel its effects. Keen memory, insight, and mind expansion. Side effects do include an addiction to the vapor. Foresight Eco, aka Pharma. From Veromia, select vegetation soaks up the puddles of seeping eco into ingredients for alchemy and drugs. Through consuming a mimic toad, one can achieve a premonition of the future. Illegal drugs are often made of black market pharma. Unseen children / child. Powerful children who have been born with ailments that seemingly cannot be cured with eco or potions. Qualities include a hot temper, early access to magic, defiant personality, and occasional disability. Parents often are unequipped for the wild nature of these children and drop them off at the Kalus church. These children then go on to become clerics or troops sent to retake Titan. Blade, a worshipper of Kalus. Druid, a worshipper of Gaia. Sayope, a worshipper of the Silent Ones, aka the Titans that were killed by Kalus and Gaia. Mumia, a worshipper of the Olympians, Cronus's consumed children. They still exist, they're just not easy to reach. You gotta be devout, gotta get on that praying. That's not in the notes. The Elemental Council, the reigning form of government for the world of Crete. 5 households control and maintain varying elements of society. The current heads of households have lived in Chroma for so long that they've far surpassed their natural lifespans. Only some of them have. They are rarely seen public these days, with their children, aka governors, taking over most public duties, before fully taking their parents' council position. Fire, to cleanse and rebuild, water to sustain and wash away, earth to nourish the bellies of man and creature alike, air to carry us across the seas and share, and spirit to preserve and heal. Humanoids, any vaguely humanoid being, not including the giants and titans. Oh, 1 sec. There's just some spacing issues that I'm choosing to work on here. Very unprofessional of me. Okay, Terra, meaning dirt, a slur some use to refer to halflings and orcs, showing they believe them to be lesser than other humanoids due to them being immune to the benefits of therma. If you're an orc or a halfling, you can still throw a crystal and stuff like that, but for some reason healing eco does not work on you. Ichors, people born via the result of their parents, any gender, making a pact with the Olympians. varying in size and shape as well as lifespan, historically feared for their connection to the Olympians. Many have led tough lives, unable to hide the truth of their parents' deal. Because of this, they had until recently been forced to live in an Ichor colony on Titan. Within the last 20 years, more Ichors have been rubbing elbows with the politicians who have eased some prior tensions and begun their enmeshing into wider society. Acceptance is new and fraught with fear for the ill-prophesied Olympians, and many Ichors and their parents hold resentment over prior treatment. All right, then we've got Tieflings, which are, one of their parents would be Hades. Dragonborn, their parent would be Demeter, goddess of the hunt. Merfolk, their daddy would be Poseidon. Furbolgs would be Zeus. Birdfolk would be Hera. Love, family, beauty. Pact, striking a deal with an Olympian, no matter your gender. You can bargain for magical powers, beauty, knowledge, wealth, strength, or anything you can think of that they'll agree to. Typically, they will want you to birth a child for them, but if you're cunning enough, they can be persuaded otherwise. But whatever you promise them in exchange, your soul is bound to the deal, and it cannot be broken without great cost. Side note, thistle flu is a yearly illness from the dark era of Cronus's reign. It serves as a curse upon the humanoids he came to despise. Symptoms include a sharp, prickly sensation in the throat, swelling purple tongue, extreme appetite, and lesions on the skin. The illness only takes 6 days to run its course. Eco removes symptoms but cannot cure, while Gaia potions can ease symptoms. Depending on the health of the afflicted, this flu can be a death sentence for some. Hopefully, none of you get that. Foreshadowing. No. Next page. Oh boy. World lore. There's so much reading. Agriculture and diet in Chroma. Due to the other island's poor growing conditions, Chroma is the center of agriculture with its pleasant Mediterranean climate. A major refinement of healing ecotherma is a fertilizer that can cut growing times in half, allowing for 2 seasons of harvest in one. With much of its land being low to the sea level, the terrain still makes farming difficult. Olive trees and grapes are grown in the hills, barley and wheat in the lowlands, with quail and goats making up the meat. Red meat is rare and expensive. The large port allows for the daily inflow of assorted fish and mollusks. Social structure. As the capital city, many different races have come together to fill every niche society needs. Though those that are capable of using healing eco to extend their lives rarely give up their position at the top of society's ladder. As such, there have been small domestic uprisings, strikes, and labor disputes within the last 110 years. Major uprisings have happened in Veromia, where Foresight Eco is located. Chroma also functions as the religious hub for the Church of Kalus, built atop the ruins of Cronus's once mighty temple. Clerics and town guards work together to keep the city safe from crime, though a small underbelly of vandals and thieves does persist. With Therma, healing eco, only able to work on elves, humans, and dwarves, there have been the long-rooted idea that halflings and orcs are lesser than, and some refer to them as Terra, meaning born of dirt, in reference to the legend that Gaia sculpted them out of clay. With their short lives, orcs and halflings fill the niche of laborers, craftsmen, and sailors, used as fodder for the world's harshest jobs. Daily consumption of refined therma, in unison with the healing vapors, can keep those blessed by eco in a state of youth and robust vitality, most choosing to accept the side effects of limited procreation and an inability to move away from chroma once they have surpassed their natural lifespan. Due to the stagnation of both political and social positions, there has been a building unrest in chroma. Many of the new generation are finding love in one another and blurring out the staunch concept of race. Furthermore, there has been an increase in those choosing to reproduce through pact magic with gods. Previously seen as a crime against the gods until the law was abolished, the growing number of adult Ichors, Olympian-blooded, has led them to demanding better positions in society. Many who are not bound to the healing mists to maintain their age are now beginning to move to Photia and seek out more opportunities. Oops, wrong scroll. Ancient history. Following the creation of Therma, healing eco, there was a span of 500 years where the large population of Titan and Chroma prospered alongside each other. But around the year 1200, as more refinements of Therma brought fortune and long lives to Chroma citizens, a mass exodus began to make their way from the ancient capital city of Titan. With each yearly hurricane hitting Titan and the shrinking population of workers, infrastructure began to crumble. In 1677, I never know how to say dates. In the year 1677's hurricane destroyed the sea walls and flooded the city, killing thousands and destroying the elemental library, while flooding the fountain of power. By the time rescue could be sent, they found that the remaining survivors had been slaughtered by eco-infused beasts, creating powerful monsters that claimed the sinking city ruins. Many troops from Chroma's Kalus church were sent to reclaim the fountain, but few lived to tell of their failure. Yearly campaigns all returned within inches of their lives, until finally it was decreed that the city was lost. Chroma became the new capital city. Adventurers and war parties continued to attempt to take back the sunken Titan ruins, for many artifacts and riches lay waiting along the miles of crumbling buildings. And while a few have established small colonies, no one has been able to reach the heart of Titan's fountain. The land is a paradise for beasts, pirates, and those with a death wish, or heart aimed at the forgotten taste of power eco. Freedom of religion. Following the dethroning and castration of Kalus, many turned to worshipping Gaia, Cronus, and the other Titan gods. But as Cronus eventually went mad, killing his siblings along with millions of humanoids, favor fell back to the god of heaven himself, Kalus, often called the father of war. With the support of the world, the whole of Titans were killed and their bodies transported to a realm of punishment. Gaia and Kalus destroyed their own material bodies and retreated to the spiritual sea. While the gods can no longer directly meddle in mortal affairs, many still choose to worship them. Kalus. The main religion in Chroma is that of Kalus, for his power and might and the gift of eco is what allows society to flourish in the rough world Cronus left behind. God of the heavens, his temperament reflects the collision and reforming of planets, or held by asteroids and distant planets. His clergy see battle scars and refusal to heal themselves and others as a testament to their devotion. In 1030, the Elemental Council Household of Spirit joined with the Church to create the first High Priestess. The Church currently controls access to the Fountain of Chroma and has investment properties in the other fountains. For the right price, they allow citizens they deem worthy to use the healing baths, an area around the fountain with the purest eco. And their monthly vestige of pure eco keeps their followers living healthy lives. However, they cannot control the natural healing benefits the fountain's mist/vapor provide to the whole of the city. Followers of Kalus call themselves Blades. Gaia. Those that follow the Mother of Nature live in tune with the natural powers of their bodies and earth, striving for balance. On the island of Era, every citizen is a worshipper of Gaia, due to the island having no eco-fountain, eco being something their goddess declared as sinful before her departure. The toxic relationship between Kalus and Gaia has bled into their worshippers. Some more extreme worshippers take the fury of nature and Gaia's call for balance as permission to strike at the greed of the Kalus church. Bel, a well-known Iker Furbolg and disciple of Gaia, has led many terrorist ploys against the fountains, bringing violence to some otherwise peaceful workers' rights strikes. Those who file Gaia are referred to as druids, even if they don't have druidic magic. The Silent Ones. With the Titans' material bodies banished to unending punishment, they are unlikely to answer prayers, and openly worshipping the gods who nearly destroyed the world is seen as crazy. Rumor has it that those who attempt repeated rituals to contact Titan will go mad. The Titans will go mad. The Olympians, the cursed children fortuned to destroy the world, consumed by their father Cronus. They seem to exist in their own realm, akin to the spiritual sea, where Kalos and Gaia reside. They are unable to directly interact with the material world, but can be reached by devout prayer and ritual. They are more than eager to strike pacts and bonds with worshippers and strangers alike, trading varying powers for the simple request of bearing their children into the world. These rituals and ensuing powers/offspring are frowned upon by most, though sentiment is changing. The Elemental Council, founded by Denali Fire as the city of Titan was being built, his government structure has flourished with the responsibility of maintaining civilization, with each generation of the council passing on their knowledge to their children. Again, fire to cleanse and rebuild, water to sustain and wash away, earth to nourish the bellies of man and creature alike, air to carry us across the seas and share, and spirit preserve and heal. Their long family trees fill the space of modern history, surviving the torments and tournaments of the gods. With the aid of politicians and orb of communication, the council is able to stay up to date on the world affairs and keep society running as smoothly as possible. I had to be like, what's the orb of communication? Oh, it's an orb. It's just the orb. Fortune-telling orbs. All right. Pets, pests, and beasts, oh my. Right, do I have that part? There we go. The line between pet and deadly beast is a thin one. During the 500 years of peace, while Cronus reigned, the citizens of Crete enjoyed subduing and breeding the monsters of the world into cute companions. When Titan fell to the yearly hurricane, the ensuing power eco-spill leached into the destroyed city, causing many left-behind pets to revert to their monstrous forms, but with new magical boons. The pets taken to Chroma and other islands remain docile, friendly pets to this day, while common beasts like manticores, chimeras, and dragons migrate on their native islands. We've got micro-griffins, dwarf, direwolf, opal, hawkfox, blink shepherd, rouge hawkfox, and mimic gecko. They're all adorable. All right. Let's keep this train going. Oh, I keep scrolling with the wrong button. I'm in Canva. There we go. All right. World Lore, Port 2. Eco and its effects. After the death of the Titans, Kalos bestowed on the world one final gift, the creation of the power fountain on the island of Titan. Healing Eco on Chroma, Intellect Eco on Anke, Fortune on Fatia, and Foresight on Veromia. In their raw forms, these magic substances can instill their users with their most basic namesake abilities. So, Healing Eco, aka Therma, flows alongside a natural hot spring in the center of Chroma. Its mists provide a natural healing air, leading to a slightly longer but far healthier lifespan. Bathing in the healing baths or consuming refined Therma can heal wounds and maladies. Potion shops can further purify and mix Therma with herbs and spices that make the flavor more palatable and bring on a targeted healing. Simple Therma potions do not have a long shelf life, and after a matter of days become a drink referred to as gorange. As the naturally green eco turns orange and gains a more pungent flavor with less potent healing effect. Also, the whole thing about the healing baths in order to live super super long. Intellect Eco, aka Logia, was discovered in the icy wasteland of Anke in 1735. This eco is released as steam that escapes the barren rocky crags. So far it has eluded a refinement or storage method. So in 1740, a college was built around the crags, and the steam is now piped throughout the school. Breathing in the vapor allows for keen insight and near-perfect memory, expanding one's mind when it comes to arcane studies and the arts. Many who study at the college find themselves unable to leave the grounds as they grow attached to the sensation of their expanded minds, resulting in the best minds being permanent residents of the institute. I hate when words repeat. I'll have to fix the minds and the minds. Anyhoot, Fortune Eco, aka Fanta, comes in crystal form. Crystals found next to the Fatian volcano, Tartarus. When smashed, they release varying spells. With time, fortune smiths and appraisers have been able to distinguish between the crystals and understanding which coincide with what spell and level. The crystals can be forged into weapons and spell rods or turned into dust that coats clothing or is infused with metal. Foresight Eco, aka Pharma, is found in the lush rainforest of Veromia and has been studied to live in symbiosis with local animals and fauna. This eco seeps from the island ground and is absorbed by plant life and then exuded in a purified state. Direct ingestion results in severe illness and hallucinations. A variety of plants infused with this eco are harvested for arcane materials and potion ingredients. The purest dosage seems to come from a subspecies of the Titan toad, the mimic toad. Extremely rare, these toads live in the deep forest, and as their name implies, can disguise themselves easily. The Church of Kalos has been building up troops and infrastructure to better access the deep terrains, building roads and selectively growing valuable crops on the acres they've claimed. Unsanctioned drug outposts exist hidden and smuggle the illicit ingredients to other islands through pirates. There's old-timey drug dealers. The blessings and curses of Crete. Eco, the fuel by which civilization is able to hold the shield against the cruel world Cronus created as punishment for mankind's endless greed. The yearly broiling hurricanes. he split into existence with the same sickle he battled his father with. Thistle flew, a reminder of the burning suffering Cronus felt as he consumed his children to save the society. The same monsters who feasted on his father's seed he bestowed into mighty serpents that consumed ships who braved the water. Cronus's wrath made a world where even with magic, the future is bleak. With Eco, Crete has maintained a slow path forward, and yet Eco brings its own stagnation, inequality towards the races who lay outside its blessing, overuse and abuse by minds so set to being the best, and the greatest irony for those who can live out centuries of long life among the mists of Therma, that with their bodies reset healthy every day, their wombs reset as well. Pregnancy in Crete is rare and difficult, a reminder that Therma Eco, whether it be mists, a potion, a cream, or bath, works by resetting the body to healthy, even when there is no clear injury. As a result of this, healing Eco is an overly effective birth control. Abstaining from eco products can help, but the reality is the mists cover the entire city of Chroma. Those living on other islands have a far better rate of procreation, though it has been studied that any use of thermo products has long-term effects on fertility. Research has begun at Anke to look for a remedy. Halflings and orcs, whose bodies naturally resist therma and other eco-influences, seem to have no impact on their ability to procreate. Elves, dwarves, and humans who can afford it will take a 9-month sabbatical on the seas or a long-term visit to another island, though sea travel has its own dangers, and for those who are past their natural lifespans and rely on healing baths to stay alive, the reality is straying far from Chroma will result in rapid aging and likely loss of life. Birth defects and the unseen children. Starting in the year 2000, Carmel's spirit noted the rise in children being born with ill temperament and impairments, ones that could not be cured by any existing eco-treatment. For 400 years, his orphanage aimed to give these children therapeutic outlets and found that with worship and reflection, their personalities and powers could be soothed. Upon his death, his wife Tiago quickly turned the orphanage into a recruitment center that turned the small number of unseen into battle-ready clerics and paladins. She then aimed that at retaking Titan. While many citizens, including those who had sent their children to the hopes of aid, became horrified at the task the young worshippers were aimed at, for the first time in 1,000 years, the Blades retook a small portion of the sunken city. It became an honor to join the unseen children. In 2500, as Petunia Spirit became High Priestess and head of the Spirit family, she shut down the orphanage and began directly receiving the orphans at her mansion home. And in 2900, as terror attacks began to rise against eco-distilleries' installations, Petunia aimed her new generation of powerful troops to maintain the steady flow of supplies and dispel any interruptions. The Well of Souls. Those who have come close to death recall the gaping maw of the Well of Souls, a dark pit that, while seemingly infinite in its power to draw one in, is radiant with godly energy. Legend has it that depending on one's belief before death, they will be greeted with the temporary glimpse into the spiritual sea and the realm of their god. For those who worship Gaia, there is her great feast hall, a place of warm scents and ready drinks where you can eat your fill and rest before re-entering the world as a refreshed soul. For those who follow the god of the heavens, also referred to as the father of war, You can walk the ancient battlefields where the giants were slain, seeing the greatest battles of history before gazing upon Kalus on his throne. And if you've proved a mighty warrior in life, battle him. Depending on how long you last against the battle master, your new soul might be bestowed with a blessing. All who exist have always existed. The spirit bound in the cycle of the well of souls. The nature of existence is that when the material body perishes, the soul is cleansed and given a new body. Not many can recall their past lives, but there is a peace in knowing that there is a moment of rest or refinement before entering the fray of existence again. The severed seed. Legend has it that the sickle used by Cronus to castrate his father had a magical attribute that meant whatever was cut could not be healed or rejoined by any means. So while the god of the heavens bled, his testicles fell into the sea. His life-giving blood and seed spilled out, and created all manner of sea beasts before being consumed by a giant clam, where they allegedly still lay today. The followers of Kalus have spent millions on materials for divination spells and even harrowing attempts with foresight eco. But nothing has led them to where this powerful artifact lies. Sea folk joke that when they shuck clams, they are dining on a god's balls. Sorcerers and wizards daydream at the College of Anke about what they could achieve with such a potent component. Natural and pact magics. Before the creation of Eco, mortal magic did exist. Incantations more akin to prayers that could aid its speaker. As knowledge of the many schools of magic expanded in Crete, so too formed religious rituals, rites, and cultural traditions. Clerics and paladins who follow Kalus prefer to use their physical might before using spellcraft, and healing oneself or an ally can mean possible excommunication. Druids freely use their magic, but access to ingredients can be difficult. Each island in Crete is home to specific ingredients whose production is closely monitored for use in varying eco-refinements. Those who turn to pacts often become sorcerers, wizards, or warlocks, having traded access to their bodies for potent magic and knowledge. Their children, Ickers, are often magically gifted, and rumor whisper that their Olympic parents send messages to them in their dreams and nightmares. Not everyone has the knack for magic, or at least gift for the school of their preference, thus why some turn to pacts. While others might make a pact to further their own magical research, still others are perfectly content to never learn or use magic, since eco products make simple spells easily accessible for simple coin price. I don't know why I said it like that. All right. Ooh, the spooky stuff. The good stuff. All right. World Lore Part 3, Dark Lore. Pact magic punishments. Prior to 2990, if someone was discovered to have made a pact, they would be put on trial, their Icker child serving as the only evidence of their crime. Because of this, many chose to make their pacts with Hades, and simply shave down the child's horns to pass them as natural. Others, more radical, would dispose of the child. The pact requires the user to give birth, but says nothing about keeping or raising the baby. Punishment often meant 15 years spent in Kalos Sanitarium, while the Iker child would be brought to live in a small colony in Titan's safe zone. In 2990, with the backing of two major prior senators, Oyster and Ware, a bill was passed that outlawed this barbaric treatment. Today, in 3010, integration has slowly progressed in the major cities. Now 15% of Chroma's population is Ikers, making them outnumber elves. Still, many carry the emotional scars of being kept from their families, and sadly, some old habits hold strong, where pact makers still abandon their Iker child to restart their lives anew somewhere else. While these half Olympic blooded children are branded with the name Iker, those who birthed them have no lasting brandishment or tell that shows the bargain they made. Some make pacts out of greed, others devotion to their god, and a small margin those who desire so badly to be a parent. Doo-doo-doo. Curses persist. From the time of the gods walked Crete's soil. Some mere fragments of their previous woe and might, relegated to old ruins or dusty artifacts, while others have evolved, still tied to the blood of the monsters they were once laid upon. Be wary of the bite as you travel the dark alleys and forests at night, or the deal of a century's hidden cost. Werewolves, though rare, can still be heard howling in the nights of Veromia, their curdling cries distorted by the trees, the need to transform occurring nightly, the desire to shed their skin intensifying with the setting sun, anger, bloodlust, loss of reason, all quirks ascribed to werewolves, though few have taken the time to reason or study them, instead calling for their hasty execution lest the curse spread. Being a werewolf does have its perks, though. Better senses, increased strength even when out of wolf form, and a body that now resists non-magical damage. For some, this curse could be seen as a blessing. In a world where Ikers are now accepted, perhaps the moon-crazed can find their way to join society next. Would you beg for the bite, or bestow a silver blade to their throat? Vampires are an even rarer beast altogether, the location of the Lilith bat, only known by the Olympic goddess of the hunt. Oh, I think I have to change that name. I think it's Demeter. From this ancient monster, all vampire curses are bestowed, making one a master vampire. And from their bites, they create drudges, aka lesser vampires, who can bear sunlight and holy symbols. To be a master vampire is to have one's fear of mortality replaced with unending hunger. The irony being that by draining the blood of mortals, they come to absorb the wives' tales of garlic, silver, and wooden stakes. Were they to abstain from nourishment, they could be truly immortal, though likely insane. It is possible that in all of Crete there may only be 6 master vampires, each taking an entire island as its hunting ground. While master vampires struggle to hold on to their humanity, drudges must interact and maintain social relationships with the public. These beings are able to disguise themselves as mortal and even feign injury when needed. While they too need blood, their personality dictates how they treat those they get it from. Could you bear the hunger or resign yourself to eternity of service? Traveling the seas is one of the most dangerous things citizens of Crete can do. The average voyage from island to island can take a full month, except for Chroma to Anke, which has a land bridge supporting the freshwater aqueducts. Sailing means dealing with broiling hurricanes, also known as the yearly hurricane, brought into existence when Cronus saved Veromia back when it was Gina Diachlia in the year 318. From Calus, the god of war launched a massive hurricane with a storm surge of 50 feet as punishment for lackluster sacrifices. The storm was split into two by the sickle Cronus wields. This created two smaller hurricanes that spend the year traveling around the world's ocean. During the golden years of Cronus, he would divert these hurricanes away from populated islands. Most years, the island might be lucky to just catch the tail end of these storms, but for those on the ocean, it is a constant worry for navigators to ensure they don't stray into the path of these storms. Besides the threat of 25-foot tall waves, there are also the beasts that call these wild waters home. Some descend from the creatures born as the result of Calus's severed testicles falling into the sea long ago. These creatures are truly monstrous in their size and power. Follow the same routes every month, and the beasts might decide to make the easy path their dinner plate. And when mythical beasts aren't around to threaten, there are pirates, the scourge of society who choose to take and kill. While handing over your coin might result in your life being spared, being of noble blood might mean they decide to keep you for ransom, or spill your blood for millennia-old grievances. Best to employ the right people when traveling. No ship is safe without a number of strong fighters and spellcasters. And then we've got some of this. So right here we're looking at social rank. At the very top of the triangle is the Elemental Council. Below them, House of Governors, Governor, the children of the council. Then we've got senators responsible for maintaining government-run facilities or businesses. Politicians interact with the public and survey views on upcoming bills. The idea of nobles is centered around one's bloodline/business ties to the Elemental Council. In Chroma, senators and their children run nearly all high-end businesses. Making a choice that a council member disagrees with can get one's rank as a noble decreased. With the council unable to leave Chroma due to their ancient age, they must rely on their children and other government aides to understand how the world at large is changing. Chroma demographic as of a 3005 survey has, orcs at 20%, unseen children at 5%, Ickers at 15%, elves at 10%, dwarves at 10%, humans at 15%, and halflings at 25%. Therma Eco has been distilled, purified, and blended into various useful potions, creams, and exotic foods. The most expensive and coveted healing bath can even run politicians half their monthly salary. And, even with money, getting permission from the church can be hard. It is rumored that some of the Elemental Council require weekly healing baths to sustain their advanced ages, and likely use a private bath at the Water Mansion to avoid the spectacle of using public eco-fountain. And then for druidic healing, we have the herbs needed to turn spells into potions are either rare or under close guard by their owners. Blessings and good berries are often freely given out sacraments to all if you attend the druid temple ceremonies. Medicines that don't revolve around the magically talented or mystical ingredients are still underdeveloped. Antibacterial medicines, while now available, are limited since useful plant ingredients can only be grown in Viromia, where exports are centered around pharma inclined plants. The surge kraken has evolved to have its ink be anti magic, and during the breeding season around Titan, they create a sort of counterspell shield in their territorial waters. Experiments have begun using their ink. Then we've got inventions. Inventions, discoveries, celebrities. I don't know why I said it like that. Crystal collar. For those desiring a way to communicate that doesn't require pulling out an orb out of their bag of holding, simply trade CC patented gems with friends and family. Press them on the communicator and wham! It's like sending. CC is only able to hold 8 contacts. Signal strength may vary. Science is not exactly fully researched. Particles are not responsible for entanglement or displacement. Hot off the press from Fatia. Get the coolest new fashion. Fortune Eco-infused silks now carry a boost of magically deficient. Oh, that's not very nice. Let me repeat that. Fortune Eco-infused silks now carry a boost to the magically deficient. Wearers can enjoy a boost, durability, speed, and even strength. Fanta Fashion makes everyday clothes as durable as armor. Slight asterisk, Fanta Fashion is not responsible for loss or damaged items, enchantment, if washed in warm water or rain. Therma Horticulture, in partnership with Fire Council's Inventor presents Green Garden Pots. Are you tired of plants dying? Then this Therma-infused planter is for you. Specially made with a durable iron blend to hold its enchantment for years. Have olives or lavender all year round. Do not place the planter close to sleeping quarters. Enchantment might result in sterile plants. The world of Crete enjoys technology that revolves around the harvesting and enriching of eco. Metals are valued specifically around their ability to hold enchantments or work in tune with Fanta crystals. Water wheels to harvest basic electricity does exist, and there is a great understanding in plant biology and organic poisons. Sailboats rely heavily on wind, though. Though inventors in Anke are trying to see if fire spell crystals could be used to build a sort of steam engine, prototypes have sadly yielded in explosive results. Sulfa drugs are a non-magical class of antibiotics. They contain high doses of volcanic sulfur and herbs. Researched by Dr. Harley and biologist Kurt, they are the first non-eco-chemical substance used to treat bacterial infections in humanoids. Sulfa drugs prevent bacteria from producing any substance they need to grow and multiply. They inhibit bacterial growth, but do not kill outright. A major step forward from the status quo of poultices for wounds. Although mass production won't be possible without major funding and wider backing from politicians to secure land to grow these necessary herbs in Viromia. Conditions have to be just right to ensure no magical contamination of these plants. With the refinement of telescope tech in combination with mathematicians at Anke, a heliocentric model of what was previously considered the unknown realm of space has now been observed and orbits mapped. For centuries, scientists and saints have debated over the purpose and position of outer space, some previously believing that Crete to be its own center of the darkness, and the sun to be the embodiment of Calus's guiding light. Attempts to explore space, though, through the use of magic has resulted in disastrous ends. So the mystery of what takes place on other planets remains. Some speculate that the other planets are the realms of the gods and that outer space is the spiritual sea. More research is needed. When it comes to the creative world, opera, the opera singer, and Dan the painter are names to remember. Catch one of opera's signature performances at the Sleeping Sheep in Chroma. At the same time, Dan can be seen fluttering from island to island, chasing his muse, the next subject of creation. Using the funding and influence, Bill Fire and Kurt Phenome have been infusing fresh vigor into enchantments and biology. While both studied at the College of Anke, Bill has returned home to Chroma upon the assassination of his brother, while Kurt has sunk their remaining inheritance into grants they've given to non-eco researchers, traveling the seas on their research vessel to identify and catalog the creatures and monsters of the world and study their adaptations. The mightiest of the blades for the past century have been Kavita and Mandy, with Kavita being high priestess in training and Mandy a devout frontliner in the battle to retake Titan. Though not all parishioners appreciate the flagellation levels of devotion Kavita decrees concerning Kalos. These powerful women embody the whet appetite for battle the Kalos god previously demanded during his earthly reign. They are the pride of the Spirit Council's warrior training program. Verse. A man in a category all his own, having braved Veromia in search of pure pharma, found and consumed a mimic toad, trading his eyesight for the vision of an untapped eco-fountain by Era. He now employs many on his adventure. Let's see, and then we've got the planet of Crete. All right, so the planet and all the islands. So I'll start the top left is, Anke. The prestigious college is open to all schools of magic, art, and mind, along with scientists, unraveling the properties of eco. Though tenure here can mean a lifetime stationed in the icy wasteland, comedy and tragedy are the mascots and portray the elation and madness of those that learn here. Even for those who return home, there is the waning craving for the vapors and the boost it brings. Titan. Ancient homeland to elves and humans, inhabitants are now few and fierce. The inland is home to many nightmare-inspiring beasts. Pirates stick to the coves where they can hide. Parties of Kalos troops and adventurers camp in the few cleared ruins. Displaced Ickers fill the Fey colony, living in prickly harmony as few dare to call this place their forever home. Chroma. Once the homeland to orcs, now property to those who can soak up the powers of the healing fountain. With council mansions rooted right above the thermomists, less desired lands are parceled out to the workforce needed to drive the mechanism of city life. Inequality shapes the streets, where on the surface luxury is everywhere, but those in the underbelly eke out any way to gain coin. And then we have Photia. Homeland to dwarves, these molten soils are now open to all with hot blood and hard-working bones. All manner of industry thrive here. Even without the healing baths to extend lives, Photians live with vigor, honor, and pride. Era. Closed off by sheer cliffs on all sides, this island is an oasis for those who follow the teachings of Gaia as druids, though many villages differ on interpretation. Without an eco fountain in these lands have been left alone by industry, existing as a haven to those in want or need of a quiet life, though some use the wilds to plot. Veromia, home to halflings. The dense rainforests is divided between those who enjoy its natural beauty and those seeking its bounty as theirs to seize. This mysterious landscape is home to ancient, decaying giant ruins deep beneath its rich soil. The desire to claim land with Foresight Eco has led to an ancient trees being can't seem to speak. The desire to claim land with Foresight Eco has led to ancient trees being fed by bloodshed, whether through shutting down unions or drug lords' conquered territory. Citizens balance themselves between life and death in a landscape of ever-shifting wonder. And then we get to the character creation. I think I'm done reading. All right. So, of course, we've got the elves, dwarves, humans, halflings, orcs, and unseen children. And then for the homebrewed races, we have tieflings, furbolgs, dragonborn, merfolks, and birdfolks. Now, since the gods are known for shapeshifting into all variety of things, the Ichor offspring are a wide variety of mammalian, fish, reptile, and birds, so have fun creating any kind of interesting character. We'll make it work. If you want to be a Medusa, cool. If you want to be a centaur, cool. If you want to be a centaur, I will have a dragon eat you. And then we've got all of the possible jobs or classes. Clerics, bards, paladins, rogues, fighters, druids, sorcerers, wizards, monks, warlock, rangers, and barbarians. Who will you be in this world? We will be doing a tutorial on Tutorial Island, aka Titan's Eastern Bank, where you get to test somebody out, see if you like the character, and then we'll do the full story from there. And then we've got... Oops, let's keep it there. There's also in the PDF I'm sending a kind of guild map area that's right next to the Adventurers Guild and lets you kind of look over the city, but also has some fun side quests and some other little things to build lore. All right, you've made it to the end. I made it reading through everything. Hopefully it sounds good. Thank you for joining me, and I can't wait for us to play.